Live. We are going to go over the legislative session, some important bills for your consideration. They mainly involve parental control and responsibility. Dustin, Hurst, and I are talking about Senate Bill 1261, parental control filters. As per usual, there's a lot more to this bill than the title, so we will get into that. And it's about parents having responsibility and taking control and being the parent, including with education. We're also going to talk about how the Department of Justice was weaponized against parents. Why is that important right now? Well, guess who's funding BSU's conference on school threat assessments? We'll talk about Janice McGeehan's letter to Boise State University after Boise State University said very recently that their programs as far as social justice had evolved. And we're also going to talk about right-wing extremism. Can we define left-wing extremism? I think Dustin Hurst has some answers. That's all on the way. Steph Lucas Live. And we're back.
Boom. Here we are again. It's Friday night. We're talking Friday
night, and we're talking politics. It's fun for me. I think there's a lot more people out there like us, Dustin. It's fun for them. So hopefully they will tune in. And this is going to be an exciting discussion. I know you keep referring to this as porn filters, but there's actually a lot more to this than what we're calling it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the first thing people think about when we're talking about Senate Bill 1261. It's actually about parental control filters or adult content filters, right? Okay, adult content
filters.
So, you have kids, I have kids. When we hear adult content filters, I say, yes, I put those on my phone and my computer, so my kids don't access this stuff. Clearly, that's what I do as a parent. I suppose you take responsibility for internet at your kid's house, right?
Yeah, we are very careful about that. I mean, our kids are actually probably behind in computers because we're a little bit too careful on internet stuff. But I'd rather
you can't be too careful.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I mean, it's your house. You're the parent, right? So
Absolutely.
What we have here is something that might sound good on paper or whatever it's at right now, but Senate Bill 1261. We're talking about that this week, and it has been proposed that Senate Bill 1261 have internet device manufacturers include and automatically activate content filters limiting access to adult content, right? Okay, so I already do that. The Idaho Freedom Foundation actually gave this a -5 rating, and mainly because it transfers a function of private sector to the government. Okay, there were some excellent examples in here. Senate Bill 1261 would require the presence of content filters in devices that connect to the internet, smartphones, tablets. Filters would automatically be activated when the device is activated within the state. What do you think about that?
Okay, so how many times have we heard that the Republicans are the party of limited government? They want to cut your taxes, protect your babies, give you your guns, and leave you alone, right?
Yeah, sure.
But now what they're saying is, whoever I don't even know who the sponsor of this bill is. I haven't even looked at it because it's so insane that the government would want to do something like this. And by the way, Republicans all over the country are doing stuff like this. I know Utah a couple years back, they passed legislation, if I remember correctly, to require a disclosure site before you get to a porn site. There has to be like an interstitial site that says porn is bad for you, right?
Right.
Because that will stop people from looking at porn. A state of Utah warning there. I want to be clear about this before certain lawmakers accuse us of being porn pushers, because that's happened before. That has absolutely happened before. Your kids should not look at porn.
Right?
You shouldn't look at porn.
Timestamp it.
Nobody should look at porn.
Nobody should be looking at porn.
Very clear about that.
Okay.
But the government doesn't need to regulate your devices. And think, Steph, think about this.
Yeah.
Read the describing sentence, the overarching sentence of this bill one more time for those who missed it.
Okay. So it would create Chapter 20, Title 48, Idaho Code. So it would be Idaho Code to require the presence of content filters in devices that connect to the internet, smartphones, tablets, etc. Such filters must be automatically activated when the device is activated within the state. So,
Do you
uh,
understand how far reaching that is?
yeah, I actually have some information here, and everyone's going to say Steph Lucas is pushing porn, compares Republicans to the Chinese Communist Party. I am just saying,
Wait.
with the Olympics happening, by the way, 40% of adults surveyed in a recent poll by Breitbart said no, they're not watching the Olympics because of human rights violations. But
Not
here's
one
something
second.
else scary, okay? All the athletes with 7 different international Olympic committees have offered their athletes burner phones. They said, don't take your personal devices over China
Whoa.
because Chinese Communist Party will access your personal information. Great Britain's already offered all their athletes. FBI has already offered, and let's neither go here nor there with the feds, right? But they've already offered, told athletes, you bring a burner phone, leave it there, because there's certain content words that will trigger surveillance
Right.
on your phone. That's a gold mine for the Chinese Communist Party. Now, while I am not comparing this to the Chinese Communist Party, it's still got overtones of Big Brother. And no, I don't want my kids watching content. I already have that stuff filtered. Excellent point that the Idaho Freedom Foundation brings up with this proposal. There's already myriad content filters available from hardware and software providers. So, while my cat, for instance, does not understand that she can apply content filters to tablets tablets and smartphones, we as human beings that can think and reason have already done that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, again, I want to point out this is the party that professes to be for limited government, and they want every producer of devices to put this filter on their software now or on their device. Now, my sense is you could turn it off, but the idea is that it's what did Cass Sunstein call it? Patriarchy. What was the name of that book? Do you remember that book? Basically, it's nudge. He said there are choices that have to be made, and because just by default, he used an example of how classroom or school lunchrooms are arranged. Somebody decides how to arrange that, and they don't necessarily make the best decision on how to do that. But because that decision has to be made, we can go in and nudge people toward the right decisions by just changing that one decision. You don't take away a bunch of choices, but you just nudge people to the right decision.
Right. You
So this is
nudge
that
them towards the right
concept, which
decision.
is if the default is block porn, that's a decision the phone already has chosen to allow porn. So we just nudge you toward the other way. You're right. This is 100% Big Brother, and it's a huge mandate for device makers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many devices are in your room right now that you own. I can think of, I'm in this room. There are at least 4 devices, 4 different devices. There's a phone, a TV, a tablet, and something else. Computer. Oh, there's computer. Holy cow, Idaho Republican Party. This is almost. Sorry,
wouldn't that be hard? Wouldn't that be next to impossible to implement? How would this even be implemented? Or at least the logistics of it would be.
I have no idea. I don't know. I didn't read the bill, quite frankly, but I don't know if it has teeth to say, oh, well, we're just going to fine you if you don't do this, or we're not going to allow your device to be sold in Idaho. I don't know. It seems are overreaching, and it seems just inappropriate. And again, I want to say this for those losers out there who think that they're going to take a soundbite out of this. Don't watch porn.
I can't now. There's my cat. It's totally ruined. She's an escape artist, and she's upset I'm in her spot. Sorry, guys.
She's good. She's
I hear
good.
Wayne likes animals, so I hope we have his approval for this cat to be here. Sorry, where are we at? Yeah, they could take sound bites from this, but here's the thing. We just said we're not pushing porn here. We're just talking about the myriad of companies that already have this out. This is already available in the private sector. Senate Bill 1261 is kind of taken over the role of the kind of. It's taking over the role of the private sector and turning it into yet another government program.
So I want to think about this too. There are two things I want to think about. I want to point out how absurd this is, because the obsession that the Idaho Republican Party and Republican parties across the country have with porn. Look, again, not supporting porn, but what I am saying is that people are going to make their decisions and you need to leave them alone as long as they're not hurting you.
Right.
Now, a lot of people will say, well, there's societal decay, and so we need to do that. Okay. A lot of people know that I'm a Mormon, and I believe you're a Mormon. You might have changed faith in the last couple of days. I don't know. But we believe strongly in the idea of
5 a.m. No, it happened. Sorry, go ahead.
Congratulations. You just got a 10% raise. Anyway, we believe in the idea of letting people make their choices and suffer their consequences so that they learn good from evil. That's one
free
of the
will.
Yeah,
right?
that's one of the foundational concepts of Mormonism.
Yeah.
And I cannot for the life of me understand why Republicans across the country, and we'll get to Democrats, by the way, they're not blameless in this, but
Well,
they
sure, look
want
at
to
CNN,
remove your agency completely. And by the way,
completely.
Democrats, Republicans a lot of them are going to get up in arms and say, well, we're just protecting you. Okay, well, I am so upset right now. Michael Bloomberg wanted to protect fat people who are drinking too much soda. So what he do? He banned sodas of a certain size. This is the same damn thing. Do we not understand that, Republicans? You probably have shared in your life. I am just on one. You have probably shared in your life a meme making fun of Michael Bloomberg wanting to ban sodas in New York City, yet you're okay banning porn in Idaho because you don't trust people to make their own damn decisions.
Right. Well, there you have it. So there's other options. If they don't like porn, can they pass a resolution saying it's bad? Okay, I'm just not clear what the other options are here. So again, but they're coming on with let's intervene in what's on people's phones, that sort of thing. But again, we're just going to have to put it out there. I feel like we have to keep running disclaimers that yes, porn is bad, plain and simple. But what's happening here is that they are taking away private sector solutions and making government bigger. So I think that's the whole gist of it as well. And here's a quote from your Freedom Index: making censorship the default state of every device represents an unreasonable infringement on the basic liberties of all involved parties.
Absolutely. Because this sets that precedent. Okay, now the Idaho Republicans have protected you from porn.
Right.
That opens the door for them to protect you from a whole lot of other things. Are they going to protect you from cigarettes? Well, they already do that, by the way. Are they going to protect you from drinking? I don't know. I drink at least 45 of these a day, right? Okay.
Dustin's gonna have a heart attack. No,
I will.
They're not the best for you.
They're absolutely not, and I am going to die at like 5:45, I think. But do I need the Idaho Republican Party to ban this for my own good? No. Do I need them to say that I can't have soda? Do I need them to say that I need to read a certain type of book? No. Leave me the hell alone.
Right.
Leave everyone alone.
They already tried to protect us from COVID, and we see how well that went. Right? We won't even start. We won't even start on the amount of lockdowns. We see what's happened when the government protects us from things, right?
Exactly. And our raging liberal friend Bruce Twitchell, who trolls us on Facebook, or at least tries to. It's kind of lame, but he's been doing it for years, so you got to give the guy some credit.
You guys have a nickname for him?
I don't have one
Twitch.
yet.
No? Can we call him Twitch?
Twitchy. Which websites will they block next, or apps? Absolutely. And keep in mind, again, I want to say this has been a fascination of the Idaho Republican Party for years. I remember a couple years ago, we were covering the legislative session, and Daryl Bowles from Caldwell ran a resolution, which doesn't have the force of law or anything like that, but he ran a resolution asking the FCC to crack down on portrayals of premarital sex on TV. I'm not kidding you. That actually happened. So that begs the question. Okay, that premarital sex, sure. Are we okay to portray post-marital sex on TV? Right. It's the strangest thing. They pick the strangest things to go after.
Or you could just turn the channel. I mean, if they wanted to propose that, they should have started that back in, the 80s. I don't know. Every time that happened, my dad would just go, "Ew, kids." Don't do that before you're married and flip the channel. Seriously, every time. That's good parenting, Dustin.
There you
As
go.
far as my dad, Dr. Scott Lucas, is concerned.
There you
That's how
go. I
he
need to
handled it.
take
So
a parenting course from him. That's great.
every time he saw someone smoking, he'd say, "Oh, I bet their breath smells so bad." So that's that's
Amazing.
parenting advice from the Lucas family there. So that's what we have as far as these adult content filters. I don't know where this bill's at in the Senate, but this is something I think that warrants discussion, and certainly the Idaho Freedom Foundation should probably explain their stance on it a little bit, right? Government
Absolutely.
infringement, that sort of thing. And then,
Absolutely. We're not porn pushers. We just we don't want this excuse me, this slippery slope to happen. We don't want people to block your devices.
right,
I want you to make your choices and
right.
to learn from them and to grow
I'm
from them.
able to govern myself and my kids by actually having those filters on there already. Probably better than the state of Idaho could provide as well, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. And that's the other point too. A lot of people have knocked the Idaho Freedom Foundation for being libertarian. We're not. We're conservative. I'm personally a registered libertarian.
Oh,
Um, but because I feel like, oh, I don't know, that you are an adult and you can make the choices for you. I don't know Steph Lucas well enough. I don't know your
mhm,
thoughts, your feelings, your heart well enough to make your choices for you. So I'm not going to. And I wish the Idaho
right.
Republican Party would adopt that live and let live type of attitude. And I understand there's societal decay that happens. There's problems with porn. There's addictions. There's broken families. I get that.
Yeah.
But that's part of being
Don't get me
human.
started, okay? I could share some stories, but
Oh boy.
sure, we get that. Yeah, I'm definitely anti-porn over here, but I'm also already got it blocked on the phone and the
There you
computer,
go.
guys.
There you go. That's a good
Yeah.
mom over there.
There
That's a good mom.
too little, too late. Sorry, already got it done. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's deal with actual issues like income tax cuts, but we'll talk about that later. Talk
Yeah.
about that one later. So we're talking about empowering parents, right? And we don't
Yes.
want to take away parents' rights to do what they should do. So we also have Senate Bill 1255, the Empowering Parents Program. I want to talk about just a little bit here. I believe, was this what Wayne and Senator Thane talked about last?
Part of it.
Wayne
Yeah.
and Wayne
Right.
and Thane. That just hit
That
me.
there's a new TV show in the making. Maybe that's the next
They'll
that's
play
the
the
next IFF
soundtrack from
show.
The Odd Couple.
Well,
It's Wayne and Thane.
if you watch the episode last night, it was the odd couple. That's for sure. It was not
Certainly. And then
normal.
Wayne comes downstairs and they just, yeah, it was
It was
uh,
unusual.
I thought it was funny to have Wayne. Yeah, it was unusual, but endearingly so. Now,
There
moving on to Senate Bill 1255, Empowering Parents Grant Program. It gives students $1,000 or gives families $1,000 per student to cover certain educational expenses with a maximum of $3,000 per family. So I got 4 school age kids. That tops out three grand there, but
right.
the rating is 0. I don't think you guys feel any way about it either or. It just says it expands the ability for families and students to choose some private educational options that best meet their needs. But I'm pretty sure what Wayne would say about this is that, look, we just want the money to follow the student. This $1,000 per student, it's not the same thing. I'm imagining that's what he thinks about this.
Well, there are a couple ways to think about this. Number one,
Mhm.
this is the return of a program that was implemented during COVID that said, hey, if you were in public schools and you made a shift to private schools or homeschool or anything else during COVID, you can have this money. I will disclose I took it. So I guess I'm a welfare queen because I took it because my kids, we pulled them out of a charter school that we found out later was super woke anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bruce, knock it off. Just knock it off. I just love the talking points. It's dude, come on, dude. Who cares? We'll
Twitch
get
has
to you.
talking points. All right.
We'll get
So
to you in a second, Bruce.
let's get
But
to what happened to your charter school. So what
so it
happened?
went super woke. We had our kids, they now homeschool. So we bought laptops, we bought, globes, we bought flashcards, we bought all
Mm,
sorts of stuff. It was great. I mean, we actually kind of had too much money, which was a new thing for me.
right.
And it was very helpful. I
Mm,
think the problem with this is my sense is it's a good program, but it's still a program. you still have to go through the government. The government still regulates what you can buy.
Yeah. And
It's
they
not a ton of
regulate.
money per
No,
kid, by the way.
no.
Think about, my kids are relatively cheap when they are younger. I mean, I thought about this with, you can do a lot of stuff when they're younger. You can go on relatively cheap field trips. You can, they don't need expensive hobbies, not hobbies, but skills, lots of equipment or whatever. But as they get older in the teenage years, you need way more equipment and stuff to do the homeschooling thing.
Yes.
It's not a lot of money, is it? I mean, am I wrong?
$1,000? No, that's nothing. That might buy a decent laptop at the end. So there you go.
Yeah, it's not much. So
It's not a ton.
and I think the other obstacle is West Virginia passed a full school choice bill, one of the best in the country. They're now fighting lawsuits over it because
Sure.
leftists can't lose
Yeah.
anything ever
Yeah.
because whatever.
Well,
So
because really, as Rush Limbaugh notified people for many years, is the right has lost the fight in public schools, and it belongs to the left now. So
it
when
really
the
does.
right does try to take things back, like school choice, here they come. So
You have
that's
to
why.
fight for it. Fight tooth and nail for it.
Yeah.
But in Idaho, our legislature is like 83% Republican. We should be able to pass school choice easily, where money can follow the student wherever that student wants to go. Religious school, homeschool. If you want to go to a Muslim school, that's fine. If you
Sure.
want to go to an atheist school, that's fine, as long as you are learning and producing results. And by the way, public schools are failing. We always talk about the indoctrination angle, but public schools aren't very good. They're just not great. And nobody, the numbers aren't there. Kids can't read, write, and they can riot and protest and do all that stuff and demand global warming lessons, but they can't read, write, and do arithmetic. So here's your cat again.
She's so upset. This is normally her spot. I've stolen
I'm
it.
so sorry.
She's an escape artist. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, she's
So
here now. All right.
the idea is, I think what's going to happen is they're going to pass this, and then they're going to say, we got school choice in Idaho. And the dumb voters who don't know better.
Did we get school choice?
Yeah, right. and they'll brag about it in the primary because it's a primary year. Don't forget that.
Election
they'll say, I supported school choice. No, you didn't. You supported a handout.
Right. Well, people need to know what it's behind it so they can ask the questions of who's running in their district. It needs to happen. This is not school choice.
Yeah.
And did this come, and this mentions in here about ARPA funding, but that's I believe where, I can't say that out loud, but we're going to find out. Oh, here we go. It will initially be funded through money received from the American Rescue Plan Act funds. So ARPA funds. It means the program doesn't increase spending in the general fund. But what happens when that ARPA money runs out? Does that mean state money has to go pay for more? And that is the problem with ARPA. A lot of programs can be started, just theoretically, a lot of programs can be started at state level that when that ARPA money runs out, then the state is stuck with having to fund that. So
absolutely.
That's part of the problem there. So that's one of the arguments.
Problem. Right. And it's funny because Idaho Republicans, again, are always willing to rail against the federal government, the evil Biden administration, or the evil bureaucracy, but then we'll take their dollars,
they'll take their money, right? Money talks, please speak up. And now it's responsible for a little thing called inflation that we're actually all dealing with. But far be it from us to explain how economics work. How's Fred doing, by the way?
Yeah, we missed Fiscal Fridays with Fred today. We had too much going on. We were still dealing with the leftists trying to cancel us.
You have a big deal coming up here, and that's what I want to get to. Actually, this all ties in together. So we've got these bills that bring up parental choice, that bring up the need for school choice and money from the state following the student, right? So if we have time, well, this is funny how this all ties in together. So today I see a post from Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeehan, and she had gotten a notification. I'm going to look this up, or a flyer from Boise State University. At Boise State University is holding a conference in June, and let me find out what the precise title is. I know I have it here.
The Idaho something threat assessment conference.
Yes, and I thought, who's after us? The Russians. But no, actually what we have here is the Idaho Threat Assessment Conference about dangers at schools. Now, I think there's a lot of disparate threads here, and they're trying to connect a lot of things. But apparently, right-wing extremists, which we never have actually had a definition for, are now a threat at public schools from what this flyer says. So I don't know if we have a picture of it. We don't. It's fine. I'll just read this up here. So the Idaho Threat Assessment Conference, June 21st through 23rd at Boise State University for the low price of $495. You can listen to somebody who did a show on Netflix. We know how unbiased they are. And the conference will include session topics on juvenile subjects in the planning stages of mass attacks, violent rhetoric, and radicalization in our schools. I wonder, sounds intriguing. Right-wing extremists, K through 12 mental health, ethics and threat management, the Rigby, Idaho school shooting, and a debrief of the Boise Mall attack. So that's a lot of disparate threats, I think, that are being lumped together here. And first of all, my first thought was, can anyone actually define right-wing extremist, right? Well, apparently the State Board of Education can't define it either.
I saw that. I
Yes.
saw that they were questioned by Janice McGeehan
Yes.
today, and they had no good answer for her. That's right? Do I have that right?
And her response is, you're right. Same question you and I had. Is there a definition of right-wing extremism? If so, what is the definition? And from where is that definition derived? Response: State Board of Education refused to provide a definition, stating that there is no universally accepted definition. Yet we're having conferences about it. So the State Board of Education cannot provide that. And then bringing up right-wing extremism again, why is right-wing extremism singled out? This was my question. Is there left-wing extremism? And I thought, boy, do we have a story for you. Let me tell you about left-wing extremism. Dustin, I want you to tell us about this. I'm going to turn some time over to you.
Gosh.
If you need someone to talk about left-wing extremism at this conference at Boise State University,
we actually have case studies here. There are 3. I know what you're thinking of, but I'm gonna get to that one in just a second. There are 3, by the way.
3.
So just recently, I think it was last summer, the leader of Black Lives Matter Boise, Terry Wilson, allegedly, I have to say that because he hasn't pleaded guilty yet or been convicted. He vandalized, of all the things to vandalize, he vandalized the Lincoln statue in Julia Davis Park here in Boise.
Right.
He was a former employee of Boise State University, of course. Of course he was. There's left-wing extremism. There were feces. There was like fake blood, toilet paper, all sorts of crap on the statue. And there's more to that story, by the way. I can't tell anyone what's coming. There's a lot more to that story.
Okay, then we're going to put that down and talk about it.
Oh man,
we're going to talk about that.
I'm working with a reporter on that, and it's oh my gosh, if the story pans out, it's mind blowing. Anyway, the other thing is there was a professor at Boise State University who, during the George Floyd stuff, she sent out an email by the way, she was an adjunct professor in the English department. English department. She sent out an email instructing kids on how to riot and how to not get caught.
Right. I remember
that happened. I wrote that story and we got crazy page views off of it. And yet Boise State's talking about right-wing extremism. And Bruce points out extremism on both sides is bad. Absolutely, Bruce. You're not wrong about that. But why are we pointing out left-wing or right-wing extremism?
Right-wing extremism. What's your third example? Do you have?
Okay, so this week the cry bullies over at Idaho 97%, they put on a concerted effort to cancel an education choice event here in Boise. Now, we talked about this last time, and we're going to talk about it for a few more times because it's just top of mind. But we contracted with the Basque Center to hold an education choice event down at the Basque Center, two or three blocks from our office.
None other than Corey DeAngelis.
And he is a nationally known expert on school choice. Really good guy. Right. Not controversial at all. It's not like we were bringing in David Duke or Al Sharpton.
Sure. Right. Well, and besides that, he does a lot of writing on the subject, and he's the one I follow, especially with everything happening with the National Association of School Boards. He was the first one to break, the news when Ohio withdrew and Pennsylvania withdrew. So he's well informed.
Yeah. So then we sign the contract, and 2 days later, we get an email from the Basque Center president, and he said, "Hey, there have been threats of disruption. we need to cancel your contract. And I kind of thought that this was going to happen. I read the contract. There was a little provision in there for this. I was kind of like, I think I know it's coming. So then I call the guy and I hear him. I'm like, so I want to know what kind of threats you saw. And there were left-wing threats that came
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
violence, disruption, and destruction of property. So they canceled us to protect their building, and they made the right choice, by the way. No hard
Sure.
feelings against Bass Center. I mean, leftists.
And we
By the
don't know
way,
what their insurance coverage is. I might need
exactly.
some for this wild cat behind me, but
the other point too is last summer, was it last? I don't remember. Last summer, you saw mostly peaceful protests across the country burning down freaking cities.
sure.
Minneapolis burned down.
Right.
Kenosha
Minneapolis
burned
burned
down.
down. But now a few truckers in Ottawa honking horns are just terrible.
Yeah, they're domestic terrorists now.
They're domestic terrorists now.
They're
right-wing
extremism. We had to move our event because there were threats of violence and disruption from leftists.
Right, and do you want to address the Idaho Statesman getting involved in this? I know they love this because this, if I were a journalist, I'd say, yeah, that's a juicy story. I'd better cover that.
Right.
And they actually had to go to the owner, the Basque Center, the manager was Ed, perhaps. And they were asking about this, and he confirmed that, yeah, there was a reason he had to cancel this.
Absolutely. And then the reporter couldn't leave that alone. And okay, fine. That's great. There was another reporter who didn't even address the left-wing threats topic.
Right.
But the reporter said, and the Idaho Statesman reporter, or a search by the Idaho Statesman reporter, turned up no social media posts that contained threats. Okay, cool. I'm sure you looked really hard, Mr. Reporter. I'm sorry. It's the most absurd thing. And by the way, I'll be honest about you. I'll be completely transparent. I don't even have them. They were handed to, or they were reviewed by Ed. I took his word for it. He seems like a stand-up guy. He has a good reputation in our community. I'm not going to call him a liar. I trust him when he says there are left-wing threats from leftists, and we're canceling. That's how that went down. And so we talk about cancel culture and left-wing threats. I mean, there were threats of violence over education choice. It wasn't even something like super juicy, by the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't like abortion or guns or race relations or anything like that. It was just the idea of giving kids their money or their family's money so they can go to the school of their choice. That's the idea that leftists couldn't handle because they're all a bunch of cry bullies.
To have this discussion. Right. So, and we've got some Corey DeAngelis tweets. I mean, look, here's a really controversial tweet from Corey DeAngelis. Oklahoma voters can now urge their lawmakers to support Senate Bill 1647 to fund students instead of systems. That's so controversial. Oh my gosh, he's informing people. Wow, boy, that's real right-wing extremism there. I can sarcasm mode, really. We can understand why the left is upset over this. So anyway, but all's well that ends well. The event's been moved, and so it's going to happen on Monday.
Absolutely. I am so excited. Corey actually flies in Sunday. I shouldn't say that because then idiots will show up at the Boise airport and picket him or something.
How dare you let the man use a plane?
Yeah,
that's
no kidding.
Where we're at here.
He's a white cisgender male. We need to cancel him. But he shows up Sunday. We're doing a special dinner with some of our supporters on Sunday evening. And then he's going to go run the Greenbelt Monday morning, and then we're going to get started. Actually, he's doing it Sunday afternoon. I don't know why I included that, but he was very excited about the Greenbelt for whatever reason.
That's all right.
And
I'm glad you guys still call it the Greenbelt. That's good too.
It's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite parts of Boise, quite frankly. So then Monday morning comes, and he's hitting the radio. He's doing Bill Cawley in Twin Falls. He's going to do your show. Yeah. Greg Pruitt with the Idaho Dispatch is going to interview him. And then he's meeting with lawmakers all day. He's going to address them at I think 1:00 at one of the Senate rooms. And then we've got another interview with him. There's a podcast. There's all sorts of stuff. But for those who are attending here, we are doing the Corey DeAngelis event. It's a rally, the Funds Students Not Systems rally at Foothills Christian Church on Monday at 7:00. If you're an IFF donor, come at 6:30, and we've got cookies for you. And you can meet Corey and take a picture or whatever. Yeah, I don't need cookies, but I'm gonna eat some. So anyway, so then we'll have the rally at 7:00. It's gonna be a good time. And if you can't come, we understand. we've got state of Ada mentality sometimes because we just live here and this is our world, and we should get out to Coeur d'Alene and Idaho Falls more, but someday.
One
But
day.
if you can't come, we've got a live stream. It's gonna be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. And I would love to see everybody out there watching, or I'd love to come shake your hand, or shake your hand if you come to Eagle Foothills Christian Church. So that's that, man.
Yeah. So there you go. It's going to be tons of fun. I can't wait to talk to. I'm just so thrilled to be able to talk to Corey DeAngelis. I can't believe he's going to be on my show. So
Yeah.
very excited to speak with him. I followed him on Twitter for a while now. So this is a big deal. So if you really want to talk to a rock star as far as education choice, Corey DeAngelis, do not miss it. You're going to regret missing it. So go if you can.
And I'll tell you, we will. You know, if you have to miss it, that's fine. But because we will be providing the stream on our YouTube channel or whatever, Rumble channel, whatever. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fun to watch live, and he may or may not call out some people.
I can't wait for that, and I'm going to be watching on live stream. I'll be watching very carefully, and of course, he might be talking. I don't know if we'll have time to chat with him about what's happening at BSU, but I just wanted to bring this up. As long as we're talking about education choice, just briefly back to this flyer, this event for the Idaho Threat Assessment Conference, talking about right-wing extremism. This is what is disturbing to me.
Yeah.
Here's what Janice McGeehan ascertained, and I'm glad she asked these questions. These need to be asked. She wants to know who funded this. Now, you and I have talked about this on the show before. The problem with University of Idaho, Boise State University, is that they will do these social justice programs, and then they'll say, well, it was funded by Coca-Cola. It was funded by a private donor, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. We have a little bit of that going on here, but it gets worse. So we have Janice McGeehan asking who is funding this conference. And the response is that the State Board of Education says, I'm reading this from the phone, it says a $6,000 grant from the National Institute of Justice would be going towards event expenses. The National Institute of Justice? Is that like Batman and Superman? No. The National Institute, of course not. It's never as good as it sounds, right?
Yeah.
So the National Institute of Justice is an arm of the U.S. Department of Justice. The Department of Justice, okay. Remember the Department of Justice being weaponized against parents? This is nothing people should be ashamed of talking about. Ted Cruz, so many Republican senators took issue with this, and they took Merrick Garland, the United States Attorney General, to task over this and said this man has weaponized the Department of Justice against parents for going to school board meetings and having the nerve to want to know exactly where their taxpayer money went. So if we have the Department of Justice here coming to Idaho talking about right-wing extremism, who do you think they might be taking aim at in this conference? And therein lies the problem.
Yep. It's amazing you can have your tax dollars used against you like this. And again, your point is well taken. What is a right-wing extremist? My guess is it's somebody that doesn't like the government. Oh, okay, cool.
Cool choice, because the Department of Justice was very upset for parents even questioning what happens at public school boards, right? So,
absolutely.
And a lot of people would argue, if you will remember, back in Virginia, back in November, there were a lot of people that put a Republican governor that was for parents having a choice and being allowed to have a say in their kids' education, because of this exact nonsense with Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice.
Absolutely. It's a toxic issue because people understand, and some of them, by the way, this is super weighty stuff, and a lot of people don't fully grasp what CRT is and what all this race baiting, this race war stuff is. They may not fully understand it, but what I'll tell you is that they feel in their gut that something's wrong, that something's not right, that they're being lied to. They can't articulate it, but they know that something's wrong. And we're telling kids that white people are evil, that black people and people of color can't get ahead unless they have Uncle Sam lifting them up, which tells them they're incompetent, which is racist, by the way. They know it's wrong. And so they act. They see Republicans or conservatives or libertarians offering an alternative, and they act. And it's going to happen again this fall. It's going to happen. Democrats are going to get destroyed at the polls this fall because of CRT and masks.
Midterms, right? CRT mass. So do you mean statewide? Do you mean across the nation? Let's talk
Well,
about this for
there
a
are
second.
no Democrats in Idaho to really be concerned about.
Mhm.
But I mean
Well,
nationwide.
unless they register for Republican primaries. That's
Yeah, I
an
mean
issue.
unless it's Fred Wood, who's a
The last doctor
Republican
is
from Burlington.
leaving the
The
legislature. Did
last
you see
doctor.
that
Yeah,
headline? Like
yeah,
he's the last doctor in the world. Okay, well, we can talk to some other doctors. They can
yeah,
testify if needed.
yeah. It's
Anything to
insane.
sell headlines. Sorry, that's a tangent about Twin Falls. If you're listening, go ahead,
Yeah.
Dustin.
No, I forgot where we were. I
Oh, we
don't
were
know.
talking about Fred Wood. We were talking about
Oh
are
yeah.
Democrats
Oh
in
yeah.
trouble
No.
nationally? With the CRT, with the
Yeah.
defund the police, with this crime wave, because I know nationally they're trying to walk back on this. They're
Oh
really
yeah.
trying to
They're
walk back
not.
on defund the police. But
Yeah.
here's the thing:
People
is you
aren't gonna
make
let
your
them.
bed, you're gonna lie in it. Okay,
Oh
you
yeah.
guys were kneeling in your little kente claws, right? And you were all about Black Lives Matter when cities were being burned down. When Seattle had Chaz or Chopped or whatever it is. Oh, it's the summer of love.
Chaz. Oh
You
Chaz.
That was so funny. And then they wouldn't allow the National Guard to be called in. If Portland federal courthouse under attack every night, give me a break. So that you make your bed, you're lying it. So I think I'm with you. I think that's why the Democrats are going to be in trouble these midterms. But like you're saying, in Idaho, probably not so much. But we have a different focus. I mean, I just see a lot of it's not so much the Democrats that's the problem. You're talking about a lot of conservative Republicans, or they say they're conservative, and then they vote just completely so far and away from conservative or the Republican Party platforms. So that's the unique set of problems we have in Idaho.
Yeah, it's ugly. But I wanna end the show tonight on a high note. I didn't tell you about this. You get lots of surprises when you work with me.
I do. It's
Yeah,
okay. I
sorry
love
about that.
surprises.
Hang on one
Except for
second.
my cat showing up. That's like kind of a surprise, but really not.
Okay, if you've made it this far in the show, you deserve a prize. So we're gonna give something away. So we
Okay.
always do. We do our text line. So get the number down 208-514-4480. And I want you to text the word shirt. Text the word shirt to 208-514-4480. And I'll show you what we got for you tonight. This come from Amendment 2 Apparel up in North Idaho. I've had these for a while and I want to give them away to you because I like them. And there's a certain theme going on, but these are our Don't Tread on Idaho shirts.
Nice. Let's see. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love
Sorry,
this.
the camera's blurring that out a little bit, but there's a shirt, there's a yellow shirt, and these are size large, and I think I'll only have large, but they're still cool. There's another one, so we'll give out 3 to individual people. But there's the green one.
Oh, that's lovely. I like
Super
the green
cool.
one.
And then one person will actually get a hoodie. Super nice hoodie, super soft. Don't tread on Idaho. I love the design. I would keep these for myself because they're cool, but I'm a lot bigger than
Right. I can't text in,
No,
I'm
you
part of
don't
the
qualify
show.
either. Maybe your boys, but
somebody wants to know what the cat's name is. This is Lucy the Wonder Cat. She's very fluffy. She doesn't have much going on upstairs. She's sweet though. She likes vacuums. It's really weird. Most cats are scared of vacuums, not this one. So yeah.
doesn't have much going on upstairs. Well, then she could run for the legislature. She'd fit right in.
She could definitely run for Senate right now. I'm sure she would. Was it? Oh, you know what? Dwayne's gonna kill me for this. Second, shut her down.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
It's Friday, Dustin. I have to do one just completely
Have you been
stupid
drinking?
thing. No.
Have you been drinking?
Maybe a little Coca-Cola. Caffeine gets me all wild. We're not going to talk about. I really haven't had anything crazier than a Diet Coke ever processed through my kidneys like my whole life. So
there you go.
Gets me a little bit upset. Caffeine does.
Yeah.
There we
absolutely.
go. So, all right.
Okay.
No, it's Friday night. I'm allowed to do one silly thing on Friday. Okay. So there we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be excused from that. I'm trying to make it a very serious politics show. And I think I held it down for about 20 minutes. It's very serious. And then you brought out the shirts and I just got so excited.
You can only do so much. So, okay. So before we leave, text SHIRT to 208-514-4480. And then be sure to join us on Monday night if you can be here in the Valley, Foothills Christian Church on State Street in Garden City. If you can't, we'll have a live stream available for everybody to see. It's going to be fantastic. And Corey's a hell of a guy. So,
and of course, if you're in East Idaho, you can hear him on my show. I get a radio interview. You already said, Dustin, no takebacks, no do-overs.
Okay, fine.
You have to have Corey on my show.
But you have to. Didn't you promise me like a tray of brownies or something for that?
Yeah,
I think you did.
I promised you some more Monster Energy drinks, and I am worried that once some senators see how you behave on these, they may ban those as well or put a filter on them. I'm not sure. So
yeah, we'll put a filter on them. Don't give them any bad ideas because they'll try.
Especially when he gets mad, he throws them and then he cracks open another one. Those are fun days.
Yeah. All right, Steph, you're the best.
You're the best. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for talking to us. I think we did really well just talking about parental rights, parental control, some Senate bills you want to keep an eye on. Are the titles really what they are? We're breaking them down for you, telling you the subtle ins and outs. So if you do have a senator or a representative that's up for re-election, you can ask them the right questions about what's really involved in these bills. And then Monday, Corey DeAngelis, it's a big deal, so tune into that. Thanks for joining into Steph Lucas Live so we can break down the legislature for you. I hope somebody wins those shirts, Dustin. Everybody, have a terrific night.